Hello, my name is Moria Levy. I come from Israel and I want to present research that I have conducted together with Nurit Lin, also from Israel. The research is named Connecting the Dots, KM Initiatives and Business Performance, because we're trying to show that indeed there is a shift in performance as a result of KM initiatives. We start with an opportunity that we do not find in many organizations. We have here a research that looks at 7 years of KM continuous initiatives, year after year after year. And that's one thing that's important and that makes it an opportunity. The second thing that makes it a great opportunity to research on is that we see an organization that every time a business decision is taken, it is triggered by a KM initiative or reflected back into a KM initiative. In other words, there is knowledge sharing and knowledge discussion and knowledge development. As a result of that, there are new ideas and new policies and new decisions at the business level. And in other cases where there were external ideas for new changes, immediately they are reflected into the KM group, into the KM initiatives, and embedded into them. So therefore, we have a good opportunity to research and to see if indeed, after this long period of KM initiatives, is there a linkage? Can we connect the dots between the business performance before and after, between the KM initiatives they actually help? The context we are speaking about are the fostering services in Israel between the years 2007 and 2014. These are the 7 years. Later on, the year after, we collect the data, we start working on it, and we can see here the results. Literature review. Yes, indeed, we do find shift in performance as a result of KM initiatives. It can be demonstrated. There is a chain of evidence, but many times this chain of evidence is not too strong, and finding both quantitative and qualitative evidence for this linkage together is rare. So we start our research and we come up with a research framework. The research framework is rather simple, rather intuitive, I would even say. We have changes, they are implemented, and they bring some new business results. The question is there a linkage between the results and the changes that were implemented? So this is the framework we want to use in order to perform the research. Methodology. We want to we are checking 4 things. First, the existence of significant change initiatives. This is going to be checked through learning 124 documents containing evidence on such existence of initiatives and them being significant. B, we're going to see the business results. We want to see if we can find improvement in business results. We are looking at 2 things, at external researches also performed on the fostering care services in Israel before and after this period, and we are learning and we are checking and we're investigating the official databases of the Ministry of Social Affairs in Israel. So this is the second part. How can we indeed see if there were changes in the business results? And we're speaking about business results. Are the parents more happy with the settlements? Are there less endings that unsuccessfully end, etc.? The third thing that we want to see is actually were the changes implemented? Because if you have an initiative and it's not implemented, you could not even speak about a shift in business result that is dependent on the initiatives. So it's not enough to have only business results and changes in the first place. These changes have to be implemented, and we have to find, and the methodology also goes and asks through survey, 121 people answer this survey, and through interviews, 25 people in different levels of the chain of command or change or different stakeholders. People are asked, workers are asked, employees are asked as to the implementation and to the knowledge of the new changes. And the last thing, the last part of the methodology is asking as to the linkage between the changes and the results. It's not enough to say there were no external changes. It's not enough to say that the internal changes were reflected by or triggered by. We want to actually ask the people what is their objective understanding. Is there or is there not linkage? So this is the methodology that is used, and as you can see, we are using a variety of quantitative and qualitative methods. Findings. Okay, first of all, there are 9 KM initiatives, one after the other after other. Every time this group takes another issue that has to do with knowledge management and learns sharing the knowledge, developing the knowledge, and seeing how to implement this knowledge. B, we find the findings teach us that there is shift in business performance. First of all, we can see that there is not a real change in how many children are placed out of home, only 1% less. But we find 15% more than before children are sent to this kind of settlement to foster care. We see that really gradually, and it's not something that just jumped one year or is going up and down. Second thing that we learn, the unsuccessful endings of foster care placements goes down and down, and it goes actually down very significant, something like 30% less within these 7 years. I'm not showing it to you, but we also find that the parents after the period are much more satisfied with the professionalism, with the settlement than before. As to the implementation, we ask people, interviews, survey, what do they think? We find that first of all, before we start speaking about implementation, we see that 97% are familiar with the new knowledge and tools. 71% of them find them not easy to access as to the knowledge, and 78% find the tools easy to access. 68% find the tools very professional. And 69% say that they were even trained how to use the tools and how to learn what the knowledge is about. So we see that the knowledge was acquired and was implemented. We even find a linkage between the performance and the improvement of the knowledge interventions, and 95% of the people that are asked say that indeed there is a contribution. There are a very significant percentage of people that are saying that the contribution is tight, is high, is that the contribution, that the linkage is good. So discussion, where are we? We showed that there is a change of evidence. First of all, we took a very long period of 7 years with no external big changes. The big 2 changes to this context, to these organizations, was before with the privatization of the services and after with a new law. In between, there are no external big changes. All internal changes are linked with KM. And the finals are learned through a variety of, of sources, all strengthening the same evidence, using external researchers, inside documentation, business databases, a survey, and interviews. There are business and theoretical implementations. This framework can be used again and again. Also, when organizations want to measure, this is a way to see how you can measure and where you can measure. But also, when you want to measure in research, again, this framework that we showed and the conditions that made this a good opportunity can lead other researchers where and how to do research in order to see if there is connection, if there is a linkage. There are limitations. We had no control group here. We had only one case study where we showed the results. But we do believe that this change of evidence did show us that we can connect the dots, that there is a real linkage between the CARE initiatives and business performance. So thank you all, and please read the research.